Ozzie joins me right now on the line live from the Outlook Conference 2017. It's sold out, but he's still making time for us. Ozzie, thanks for doing that.
Oh, I'm happy to be. I couldn't miss Michael Campbell's show, the greatest show in the world.
Well, isn't that nice? Let's come back to something you've done a great job chronicling for our audience, and obviously it's still a very hot topic. I see that Toronto, for example, they've got their real estate associations lobbying to not introduce a foreign buyer's tax, a la what Vancouver has done. Certainly Calgary won't be doing it. Edmonton won't be doing it. But let's talk about the actual numbers. We had some temporary numbers or interim numbers. Okay, we got the final numbers now. What were they for August once this tax was introduced?
Well, the interesting thing is, it's a little offhand, but real estate purchases involving foreign money in Vancouver fell to only 60 sales, with foreign investment totaling $17 million from August 2 to 31. But there was 1,974 sales involving foreign investment valued at $2.2 billion from June 10 to August 1. Now, of course, everybody was trying to beat the tax, and that's why the problem was so dramatic. But it's clear that after the tax is introduced, our sales have fallen like a stone, and the early numbers in September show the same thing. But not the same for Maple Ridge, for instance, and not the same for Mission. I was just talking to a realtor in the hallway, and she sold 2 homes, and both had multiple offers in Mission. So where the biggest hit is in the downtown area, the West Van, Richmond, and those areas.
Yeah, but I appreciate that a lot of the 15% foreign tax was added on in the last week, of July, and yeah, some people scrambled, but that's not near it. There's no way that makes up for why it was 1,974 sales involving foreign investment between June 10th and August 1st, and then you get August 2nd to the 31st with 60 sales. No, that's too big a discrepancy, 17 million to 2.2 billion. So obviously it's going to be fascinating. As you say, September is going to be one. We'll get those numbers chronicled as soon as we get them to you. It's going to be very, very interesting. But what about some of the other implications? Toronto, if they don't do one, is going to be a huge beneficiary. But what about switching, for example, from this was only a residential tax, right? It didn't apply if I bought commercial or business properties, industrial land.
Exactly. I'm talking about that at length because, while we might close one door, we open a window somewhere else because the commercial market and the industrial market is on fire already in British Columbia. And that is going to get even accelerated because a pure investor that came here to park money if he wasn't going to live in a condo anyhow, what's wrong with buying a commercial property, get income, and avoid the tax to boot? And we're seeing more and more interest that way already.
And it is interesting, there's a huge contingent, arguably a majority of Canadians who still think, despite the incredibly poor track record, that somehow governments can control the economy. I mean, do the words Soviet Union mean anything? Plus all the other examples recently, and they try and control the residential market or have a huge impact on it. And as you say, that just opens up for something else.
Yeah, and a lot of the foreign money may very well go to Toronto. But there's something else going on, Mike, and I'm talking about it again at the conference here, and we mentioned it briefly on the radio. I'm of the view that we will never have the kind of runaway inflation like the Weimar Republic with $1 million eggs had, or the abject collapse of bread lines in a deflationary world in the 30s. But we may very well see both at the same time. We do have an almost runaway inflation in all major markets in the world. I mean, look, China, Turkey, New Zealand, Germany, Canada, Romania, Malta, all of them have on average more than 10% increases. China as much as 23% increase in the second quarter. And the reason is, of course, that's all of the country. But if you go inside the country, like Toronto is up 20%, Vancouver is up, all of these numbers are up because we have all that money in the world looking for safe havens. There's really only, you mentioned Russia, and Hong Kong and Brazil and Egypt and Mongolia that are down. The rest of the countries in the world are actually seeing an increase in real estate far outstripping the local inflation rate.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. It certainly hasn't, this quantitative easing and the record low interest rates have not spurred economic growth, clearly. There's too many variables involved, but it clearly has not. In fact, I think it's deflationary, which would be a shock to our central bankers, shock to the banking industry in Canada. It's clearly deflationary. But here's the thing. they have the record low interest rates. All it's done is it's increased the incentive for bigger money to look for homes, and that's what's produced this. Well, again, it's much easier for me in the economic stuff I do to be able to explain this stuff now, because I say, hey, look at Vancouver, and people sort of get the message.
Yeah, no question about it.
And I can tell you this, if you're in the real estate business in Calgary and Edmonton, you're hoping that money makes its way there.
Yes, and some of it will. I'm sure there is. But at the same time, we have a deflation on the economic side, which is commodities and so on. And so we have sort of both at the same time. But it's the printing of money that has distorted the world, and the negative interest rates are doing it further.
Hey, got a couple of hot properties before you got to get back to the conference?
Yeah, we are handing out 100 properties under $100, under $100,000. We have one in Chilliwack at $89,000, one-bedroom, one-bath condo, and a two-bedroom, one-bath condo in Chilliwack for $99,000. And in the United States, we have two condos, one at 87 and one at 89 in Tacoma. So there's a lot of, just across the border, there may be some opportunities there too.
I promised I would give them a free copy of your book, Real Estate Action 2.0. Well, up until Tuesday, you got to get it done by Tuesday. If you just simply go to Amazon.com, and you can get it a free download on Amazon, which you can read obviously on a Kindle, on your computer. Download that Amazon Kindle app, and then you can do it on your smartphone, your tablet, you name it. You don't have to read it right away, but you can have it. It's your copy, and it stays there with you. I mean, the paperback was $25 or $24.97. I give them the 3 cents myself, $24.97. And so right now, so I want you to note this, right up until, you got to get it done by Tuesday. But there you go, Real Estate Action 2.0 ebook, exclusively on Amazon.com. And you know what I think you should have a look at it. If you have a look at it, write a review for Amazon.com. It really helps out on anything. That's what's help out the authors. But that's terrific, Ozzie. I think I'm very excited about that. Free downloads from Amazon.com, Real Estate Action 2.0. Great stuff. You're going to be popular. You finish with a freebie.
If you don't have a Kindle app, download it from Amazon as well. It's a total brand new book that we put out. So hope everybody enjoys it and writes me a glowing review. No, write me an honest review, because it's a great book. You'll love it. Yeah.
No, good stuff. I think that's very exciting. Thanks, Ozzie. Go back to the conference. I appreciate you finding time this week for us.
Thanks for having me.